March 17th, 2014, Northern Lebanon. 2:47 a.m. Dr. Sarah Mitchell crouches in darkness beneath the ancient Roman temple at Baalbek, her headlamp cutting through air that hasn't moved in 2,000 years. She shouldn't be here. The Lebanese government explicitly forbids any excavation beneath this site. The penalty is 10 years in prison. But the ground-penetrating radar revealed something 3 days ago that Sarah can't ignore. A void, massive, geometrically perfect, and it shouldn't exist. Sarah's 42, Yale PhD, 20 years digging through Middle Eastern ruins. She's never broken the law before, never even considered it. But she's looking at evidence that could rewrite human history, and every official channel she tried told her the same thing. Forget what you saw. File your report. Go home. So at midnight, she and her colleague Klaus cut through the security fence. Now she's wedging a pry bar into a crack in the foundation, and the ancient stone is shifting under her hands. Behind it, absolute darkness, the smell of stale air that's been sealed for millennia. She crawls through. The passage slopes down at 45 degrees. Her gloves scrape against carved stone, but the cuts are wrong. Too smooth, too regular. She's seen Roman stonework her entire career. This isn't Roman. The passage opens into a chamber and Sarah's light sweeps across walls covered in symbols she's never seen before. Geometric patterns, mathematical sequences, and in the center, on a raised platform, something that looks disturbingly like a machine. Crystalline structure, possibly quartz, with metallic components that show no corrosion. Klaus emerges behind her and whispers one word in German that translates roughly to "holy shit." Sarah's hand reaches toward the device before her brain can stop her. Klaus shouts, "Don't." Too late. Her fingers touch the surface. Every symbol on the walls floods with blue light. Sarah jumps back, heart slamming against her ribs. The light's coming from the walls themselves, the geometric symbols glowing with soft blue luminescence that pulses like a heartbeat. The device hums, low frequency. She feels it in her chest, in her bones, vibrating through the ancient stone beneath her feet. Klaus is backing toward the passage entrance, his face pale in the blue glow. But Sarah can't move. She's watching the symbols flow across the stone surface like water, rearranging themselves into new patterns. And somehow, impossibly, she understands. Not words, concepts, images flooding her mind. A map, Earth's surface. But the continents are wrong. Ice sheets cover areas that are now temperate. Coastlines run through places that are now hundreds of miles inland. This is Earth 12,000 years ago, and marked across the ancient map 47 locations, each one marked with the same symbol that's carved into the device. Sarah's camera comes up on instinct. Years of archaeological training taking over, document everything. She shoots frantically as the patterns shift and flow. Klaus grabs her shoulder. His fingers dig in hard enough to bruise. They need to leave, now. The security guard makes rounds every 4 hours, and they've been down here for 90 minutes. But Sarah's locked on one location on the glowing map. Coordinates in what's now California, near San Francisco. That symbol is pulsing differently from the others. Brighter, faster. It's still active. The others are dormant, ancient, cold. But that one is alive. The humming stops. The lights fade. The chamber returns to darkness except for their headlamps, and Sarah realizes she's shaking. They scramble up the passage, emerge into cool night air with 30 minutes before the guard's next round. Sarah has 400 photographs. Clear evidence of advanced pre-Roman civilization. Proof that will shatter everything academia teaches about human history. But as they pack the equipment, one thought keeps circling through her mind. The chamber was dormant for thousands of years. Then she touched it, and it woke up, like it was waiting, for her, for humans, for this exact moment in history. 3 weeks later, Paris. Sarah sits in a UNESCO conference room watching Director General Martine Dubois study her photographs. 5 minutes of silence. Then Martine slides the photos back across the mahogany table and reaches for her phone. Sarah watches her make 3 calls. First to Lebanese authorities. Second to Sarah's university provost. Third to someone Martine addresses only as director. The words are clinical, Breach, violation, termination. Sarah's career ending in real time. When Martine finishes, she opens a locked cabinet and removes a thick file, drops it on the table. The sound echoes. Inside are photographs, dozens of them, similar chambers, similar devices, similar geometric symbols. Mount Yamantau, Russia, 1994, Yonaguni, Japan, 2001. Beneath Rome, 2008, each photo stamped classified, each site now sealed. Sarah's hands shake as she flips through them. 47 locations marked on a world map, all at precise latitudes, 30 degrees north, 30 degrees south, equator, perfect geometric distribution. Martine writes something on official UNESCO letterhead, slides it across. It's Sarah's official termination notice, effective immediately. Reason: violation of international heritage protection laws. Sarah reads it twice, looks up. Martine's expression is stone. No appeal, no discussion. The file goes back in the cabinet. Martine locks it. Hands Sarah a business card with a single phone number. No name, no identification. Then walks to the door. Opens it. Sarah understands. The meeting is over. Her career is over. Everything she's worked for, gone. Because she found something that someone decided the world shouldn't know. She walks out into Paris afternoon. Tourists everywhere, street musicians, couples at cafes, normal life continuing while Sarah's world collapses. She looks at the business card, throws it in the Seine, watches it sink, then pulls out her phone and starts making calls. If they think she'll stay silent, they're wrong. 6 months later, she's operating from a cramped Berlin apartment, officially unemployed, actually coordinating with 12 other silenced archaeologists through encrypted channels. They call themselves the Network. Tonight they're analyzing data. Marcus Chen found identical symbols beneath Teotihuacan. Elena Volkov documented underground tunnels in Derinkuyu. James Wilson's radar revealed voids beneath the Sphinx. All banned, all silenced, all still working. Sarah overlays their data. The pattern emerges: 47 sites, all on tectonic fault lines, all responding to seismic stress. The system isn't just ancient, it's active, doing something, right now under their feet. Marcus shares seismographic data from the last 50 years. Every major earthquake, there's an electromagnetic spike at the nearest ancient site. Elena adds readings from Derinkuyu. During the 1999 Turkey earthquake, the underground chambers lit up. Witnesses reported it. Government dismissed them as panic hallucinations. James overlays volcanic activity. Mount Vesuvius, 1944. Eyewitnesses described strange lights from ruins at Pompeii hours before the eruption. Official record: wartime hysteria. Sarah's mapping it all. The sites form a perfect geodesic sphere, each point equidistant from neighbors. That level of global coordination requires seeing Earth from above, requires mathematics humans supposedly didn't have 12,000 years ago. The theory crystallizes. These devices regulate tectonic stress, prevent catastrophic earthquakes, modulate volcanic eruptions. A global system built to stabilize the planet, and it's been running automatically for millennia. Sarah's phone buzzes. Unknown number. She ignores it. It rings again. And again. She answers. The voice is American, cold, professional. Stop your research immediately. This is your only warning. The line goes dead. Next morning, her apartment is exactly as she left it, except for one photograph on her desk. Her parents' house in Oregon. Clear shot through the kitchen window. Her mother visible making coffee. Message received. They know everything. Can reach anyone. The network meets in Prague Public Park 2 days later. Marcus arrives pale. His funding disappeared. 20 years of grants. Gone overnight. Eleanor's visa for the United States was denied. She's banned from 14 countries now. James hands Sarah a newspaper. His colleague at Cairo Museum, Dr. Ahmed Hassan, died 3 days ago. Single vehicle accident. Ahmed was investigating the Sphinx Void. They sit on park benches watching tourists feed pigeons, looking like graduate students having coffee, actually discussing whether they're willing to die for truth. Eleanor breaks the silence. The Sausalito site. If it's active, we need proof. Visual documentation. Undeniable evidence. Marcus stares at her. That's a federal facility. Prison time. Sarah meets his eyes. Ahmed's dead. We might be next anyway. At least if we succeed, the truth gets out. They plan for 2 months. Geological survey cover story. Legitimate UC Berkeley credentials forged by someone James knows in Amsterdam. Ground-penetrating radar disguised as standard equipment. If they're caught, they have 12 hours before the story automatically uploads to 50 news outlets worldwide. Dead man's switch. Insurance. They arrive in Sausalito on a Tuesday. Start hiking the coastal mountains, looking for what satellite imagery suggested but couldn't confirm. A geometrically perfect anomaly. 40 meters underground, hidden beneath a place marked National Weather Service installation. Day 4. Marcus gets the hit. Strong metallic return. Geometric structure. 40 meters down, right where their calculations predicted. Problem. It's behind a chain-link fence with federal property warning signs. They wait until 2 a.m. Wire cutters through the fence. Each snap of metal sounds like a gunshot in the silence. Sarah's heart hammering. Klaus taught her this. Before UNESCO destroyed his career too. Before he disappeared into Eastern Europe and stopped answering emails. The entrance is hidden behind a maintenance shed. Concrete stairs descending into darkness. Motion sensors at the top. Old technology. Marcus disables them with an electromagnetic pulse from their equipment. They descend. 50 meters. The concrete transitions to carved stone. Then to something else entirely. Walls that look grown rather than built. Smooth, crystalline, identical to Baalbek. The chamber opens before them. Same dimensions as Lebanon. Same device in the center. But this one glows. Blue light pulsing from the walls. The device humming at that frequency Sarah feels in her bones. They're not alone. A woman in her 60s stands beside the device. Grey hair, work clothes, security badge. She's been waiting. Doesn't look surprised. Doesn't reach for a weapon. Just watches them with the expression of a teacher whose students finally arrived. Sarah's mind races. Run. Fight. Talk. None feel right. The woman speaks. Her voice is calm, almost kind. She introduces herself as Margaret Foster. Been monitoring this site since 1985. She knew they'd come. Knew they'd find it. Most researchers take years. Sarah's team took months. She's impressed. Sarah's hand moves toward her phone. Emergency signal. Upload everything. Margaret notices. Doesn't try to stop her. Just waits. Sarah's finger hovers over the button. Margaret gestures to the device. Asks Sarah if she wants to understand what she found. Or if she wants to be another martyr for partial truth. The question hangs in the air. Elena and Marcus watch Sarah, waiting for her decision. Upload the evidence and run, or stay and learn what 70 years of classified research discovered. Sarah lowers the phone. Margaret nods, then does something unexpected. She places both hands on the device. The glow intensifies, the walls light up, and the symbols start moving, forming new patterns, showing something Sarah never saw in Baalbek. A recording, a message, left by whoever built this 12,000 years ago. The symbols flow across the walls like water, faster than in Baalbek, more complex. Sarah's camera is up, shooting everything, but her hands are shaking. The patterns form images, not quite pictures, more like concepts translated into visual form. Margaret steps back from the device. Her expression is grim. She's seen this before. many times. Never gets easier. The message shows Earth, 12,000 years ago, green, thriving, advanced civilizations spanning the globe, cities that make Rome look primitive, technology that makes the modern world look crude, then catastrophe, not gradual, sudden. The images show fire from the sky, massive impacts, oceans boiling, ice caps melting in weeks instead of millennia. The planet convulsing, tectonic plates shifting hundreds of miles, volcanoes erupting simultaneously across the globe, the civilization dying in real time. But before the end, they built something. 47 installations, global network, planted deep in the Earth's crust at specific points, designed to stabilize, to prevent it from happening again, to give the survivors, whoever they were, a chance. The images show the construction, massive effort, coordinated, desperate, built in decades. Should have taken centuries. They knew they were dying, built it anyway. For us, for whoever came after. The message ends. The walls go dark except for the device's glow. Sarah realizes she's been holding her breath, lets it out slowly. Margaret's voice breaks the silence. She explains what 70 years of research discovered. The devices work. They moderate tectonic stress, prevent the worst earthquakes, dampen volcanic eruptions. They've been running automatically since they were built, keeping the planet stable, keeping humanity safe, without anyone knowing. But they're failing. 2 sites went dark, one in 1973, another in 1998. Each failure caused regional instability. Indonesia, 2004, 250,000 dead. Fukushima, 2011, nuclear disaster, both near failed nodes. Margaret pulls out a tablet, shows graphs, seismic data, system degradation analysis, conservative estimate 20 to 50 years before critical failure. Optimistic, maybe a century. Pessimistic, could be next year. When the network fails, the ancient catastrophe returns, tectonic instability, super eruptions, another extinction event. Sarah stares at the data. Humanity's survival depends on ancient machines nobody understands, built by a dead civilization. Using technology 70 years of research hasn't cracked, and they're breaking down. Marcus asks the key question. Why tell us this? Why not just kill us like Ahmed? Margaret's answer is blunt. Because we're desperate. Need new perspectives. Different thinking. Sarah's team did in 6 months what took decades. Maybe they can help. Maybe they can figure out what 2 generations of researchers couldn't. How to repair devices built by a civilization that makes modern technology look like stone tools. Margaret leads them deeper into the facility, past the main chamber, through corridors carved by the ancients. The walls here are different, covered in technical diagrams, schematics, operating instructions in geometric symbols that take years to partially decode. She shows them the monitoring station, banks of equipment, decades of accumulated data, seismic sensors, electromagnetic monitors, gravitational anomaly detectors, all focused on the device, tracking every fluctuation, every pulse, every change in the harmonic frequency. The data is staggering. The device doesn't just respond to earthquakes, it predicts them. 72 hours before major seismic events, the resonance pattern shifts. Specific harmonic changes correlate with specific fault lines. The ancient builders understood earthquake mechanics better than modern seismology, built a prediction system into the stabilization network. Elena examines the energy flow diagrams, traces the patterns with her fingers. The device draws power from Earth's magnetic field, converts it somehow, channels it into the tectonic plates. The math is complex. The physics shouldn't work, but it does, has worked for 12 millennia. Marcus focuses on the communication protocols, how the sites coordinate. They use Earth's core as a transmission medium. Signals propagate through molten iron, faster than light communication without violating physics. Because they're not transmitting through space, they're using the planet itself as a quantum computer. Sarah's analyzing the construction materials, the crystalline matrix, synthetic quartz infused with elements that shouldn't exist. Element 115, theoretically unstable, Here it's perfectly stable, has been for 12,000 years. The atomic structure is impossible. Nuclei arranged in patterns that don't match standard physics, yet they're stable, functional, working. Margaret shows them the critical data. Site 17 off Japan's coast. The degradation is accelerating, the crystal matrix is fracturing, harmonic frequency drifting. Within a year, maybe two, it will go completely dark. When it does, the entire Pacific Rim becomes unstable. Magnitude 9 quakes become likely, potentially multiple simultaneously, cascading failures across the network. She pulls up the worst-case scenario model, developed by DARPA in 1987, classified above top secret until 2003. If 3 more sites fail, the network collapses completely. Tectonic stress releases globally, every fault line, every volcanic system, simultaneously. The model predicts casualties in the billions, infrastructure collapse, agricultural failure, nuclear plant meltdowns. Civilization doesn't recover. The room is silent except for machinery hum. Sarah looks at the data, at the degrading site, at the impossible task, then at Margaret, asks the question that matters. What do you need us to do? Margaret's answer is simple. Go to Site 17, 3 kilometers underwater off Japan. Access the device. Figure out how to repair it, or at minimum, understand why it's failing. Because if they can't fix it, they need to know if the others will fail the same way. Need to know how much time humanity has left. 3 months of preparation, deep-sea submersible training, technical briefings, studying every scrap of data from the failed sites, learning to operate equipment designed for 3,000-meter depths. Sarah's never been comfortable underwater, learned to dive in graduate school, hated every moment. Now she's descending into the Pacific abyss in a titanium sphere barely large enough for 4 people. The pressure at this depth would crush a human instantly. The submersible's walls creak. Normal, the pilot says, still terrifying. Sarah watches the depth gauge. 500 meters, 1,000, 1,500. The water outside is absolute black. Nothing lives this deep. Nothing except whatever ancient civilization built devices on the ocean floor, 2,000 meters. The external lights barely penetrate. Empty water, no fish, no life, just crushing pressure and darkness. 2,500 meters. The pilot adjusts trim. They're approaching the coordinates. Sarah's heart rate spikes. She checks her equipment. Cameras, sensors, sample collection tools, remote manipulator arms for attempting repairs. Everything ready. 3,000 meters. The lights illuminate something on the seafloor. The structure rises from the bottom, identical to surface installations, but wrong. Damaged. The crystalline matrix is shattered. Cracks run through the entire device, some fresh, some ancient. This wasn't system degradation. This was attacked. Marcus sees it too, points to the impact patterns. The damage is precise, targeted. Someone knew exactly where to strike to disable it. Sarah deploys the sensor array, extends the manipulator arms, positions them against the damaged crystal. Data streams to the surface facility. Margaret's voice crackles through the comm. They're receiving. The damage pattern is consistent with directed energy weapon, high-frequency electromagnetic pulse, recent, within the last 50 years. Sarah examines the fractures. Some are clearly ancient, from the original catastrophe 12,000 years ago, but others are new, sharp edges, no erosion. Something hit this device deliberately, recently, trying to destroy it. She deploys the repair probe. Nanoscale manipulators designed to reconstruct crystal lattices atom by atom. Experimental technology. Never tested at this depth. Never tested at all, really. She activates the sequence. For 30 seconds, nothing. Then the device pulses, once. The submersible rocks. The pilot grabs controls, stabilizes. The device pulses again, symbols lighting up one by one, blue glow spreading across damaged surfaces, faster than the probe could possibly work. The crystal lattice is regenerating, self-repairing. It just needed a catalyst, a signal that someone was trying to help. Margaret's voice urgent. They're reading massive electromagnetic spike. The device is coming back online. Get clear immediately. But Sarah's watching the symbols. They're not random. They're forming words. A message. In English. Warning. Network compromised. External threat detected. Defend installation. Repeat. Defend installation. The message cycles, then shifts. New symbols. A countdown. Starting at 47, dropping to 46, 45. The submersible ascends. Emergency protocols. Sarah watches the device recede into darkness. Still glowing. Still pulsing its warning. Still counting down. They surface 6 hours later. By then the world has changed. 14 monitored sites are fully active for the first time in recorded history. Satellite telemetry shows electromagnetic signatures at locations they've never been able to access. Russia, China, Antarctica, deep ocean trenches, remote deserts. The entire network is online. Broadcasting. Margaret meets them on the dock. Her face is pale. Shows Sarah a tablet. Global seismograph readings. Every single device site is transmitting a synchronized pulse. Coordinated, precise, like a heartbeat, but not random. It's a signal, a beacon, broadcasting into space. Sarah's mind races. The devices aren't just earthquake regulators. They're a communication network. Been dormant for 12,000 years, now active, calling something or warning something away. The next 24 hours are chaos. Every intelligence agency on Earth detects the signals. Russia moves military units to their sites. China closes airspace over 3 provinces. The US raises DEFCON level. Nobody knows what's happening. Just that 47 ancient devices are suddenly active and broadcasting something into space. Sarah's team analyzes the signal pattern. It's not random electromagnetic noise. It's structured. Mathematical. Marcus cracks part of it. Prime numbers. Fibonacci sequence. Pi to 100 decimal places. Universal constants. Mathematical truths that would be recognized by any technological civilization. The message repeats every 6 hours, gaining strength. Elena tracks the directional component. The signal isn't omnidirectional, it's aimed. Specific point in space. She plots the coordinates. Constellation Draco, approximately 200 light-years distant. Nothing there on standard astronomical charts. Nothing visible. But the ancient network is screaming at it. James finds the historical connection. Ancient Sumerian texts describe beings from the sky, taught humanity agriculture, mathematics, astronomy, then left, promised to return. The texts call them the Anunnaki, watchers, guardians. Sarah pieces it together. 12,000 years ago, advanced civilization existed. Something catastrophic happened. They built the network as planetary defense. Not just against earthquakes, against whatever caused the catastrophe. An external threat. The devices were meant to keep Earth stable and broadcast a warning if the threat returned. The countdown continues. 45. 44. 43. Nobody knows what happens at 0. Margaret receives a call on a secure line, speaks briefly, hangs up. Her expression is grim. Russian intelligence just reported something. Site 32 in Siberia. The one that's been dark since 1973. It didn't fail naturally. Satellite imagery from declassified archives shows a precision strike. Missile or directed energy weapon. Deliberate destruction. Someone has been systematically destroying the network. And now that the network's active and broadcasting, whoever's been attacking it knows the remaining sites are vulnerable. The devices aren't just waking up to warn Earth. They're waking up to defend themselves. Because something is coming. Something that destroyed a global civilization 12,000 years ago. Something that's been trying to disable Earth's defenses for decades. And the countdown just hit 42. 2 weeks later, the countdown reaches 30, still dropping. 1 every 12 hours. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows what happens at 0. Sarah's team is back at Sausalito, working around the clock, trying to decode the full message. The devices are transmitting more than just warning. They're transmitting data, technical specifications, star charts, historical records. It's an archive, 12,000 years of information stored in the network, waiting for someone capable of understanding it. Marcus breaks through a section. It's a timeline. The ancient civilization detected something approaching Earth 15,000 years ago. Large object, artificial, not natural, moving at impossible speeds. They had decades to prepare, built the network, fortified the planet, waited. The object arrived 12,000 years ago. Not a ship, a weapon, designed to destabilize planetary systems, trigger catastrophic tectonic events, destroy civilizations by making their own planet kill them. The ancients fought back, used the network to counter it, succeeded partially. The weapon was damaged, forced to retreat, but not destroyed. And Earth's civilization was shattered in the conflict. The survivors built what they could from ruins, became us. Humans descended from the remnants of that ancient war. Eleanor finds the critical section. The weapon retreated but didn't leave the solar system. It's been out there, dormant, recovering, waiting. The network has been monitoring, tracking, and now it's detected something. The weapon is returning, moving again, heading back toward Earth. That's what triggered the activation. The devices detected the threat, woke up, started broadcasting the warning. Sarah asks Margaret the question that matters. How long until it arrives? Margaret shows her the calculations. Based on the signal pattern, the countdown rate, the mathematical progression, the weapon will reach Earth in 30 days. Exactly when the countdown hits 0. 30 days to prepare for something that destroyed a civilization that makes modern humanity look primitive. 30 days before a weapon that uses planets as targets arrives. 30 days to figure out how to use a defensive network built by people 12,000 years dead, using technology we barely understand. The room is silent. Then Sarah speaks. Her voice is steady. We're not defenseless. We have the network. We have 30 days to learn how to use it. The ancients beat this thing once. Their descendants can do it again. Margaret looks at her, asks if she really believes that. Sarah meets her eyes, says she has to, because the alternative is accepting extinction. Marcus pulls up the technical schematics, starts analyzing the network's offensive capabilities. If it can stabilize tectonic stress, it can also direct it, turn earthquakes into weapons. Elena examines the energy systems. The network draws power from Earth's magnetic field, practically unlimited, can be focused, concentrated, weaponized. James maps the geometric distribution. 47 points form a perfect sphere, can project force anywhere on the planet, or above it, into space. The ancient defensive network isn't just planetary stabilization. It's a weapon system designed to protect Earth from external threats, and in 30 days they need to figure out how to fire it. Sarah calls her parents, tells them she loves them, doesn't explain why. Can't. They wouldn't believe it anyway. Who would? Ancient civilizations, planet-killing weapons, countdown to invasion. It sounds insane, but the devices are real. The network is active, the countdown continues, and something is coming. Margaret asks Sarah if they should tell the world, let people know what's coming, give them time to prepare, or say goodbye. Sarah thinks about it. Decides no. Panic helps nothing. Better to work the problem. Use the time they have. Maybe they succeed, maybe they don't, but creating global chaos won't help. Outside, the sun sets over San Francisco Bay. Beautiful, normal, people going about their lives, completely unaware that in 30 days everything changes. Sarah returns to the device, places her hand on its surface, feels the hum, the ancient power, the warning, the promise. 12,000 years ago, someone built this to protect Earth. Now it's her turn. 30 days. Tick-tock,